Welcome everybody to the Lifeline webinar for December. It is December 20th at 2 p.m. Not that the time really matters because we'd be here regardless of what time it was. But this is our first foray into YouTube Live. This is a stream, a live stream, and that is being recorded, and we'll make sure that it goes out to the network after we're done here. But I'm really excited because December tends to be kind of a stressful time for a lot of people, and especially people in the crisis center arena. But I am really, really excited to have Debi Traeder here of Wausau, Wisconsin. She's currently the chair of Prevent Suicide Marathon County and a member of the AOD partnership. Can you tell us just really quick what AOD partnership is?
It's alcohol and other drug partnership that we have in Marathon County as well. Our two coalitions work together quite often just because substance abuse and mental health go together quite a bit. So we partner together a lot in our community.
Great, and this is really big too. You apparently helped propose and help found Prevent Suicide Wisconsin, which is I know that you guys do a lot of really big initiatives and have a lot of really great efforts, a lot of coalition networking on that kind of stuff. Do you want to say a little bit about what else you do with that?
Well, I'm not as connected with Prevent Suicide Wisconsin as I used to be. I'm no longer with Mental Health America, but I and another person helped found that organization to keep networking going amongst all of the coalitions for suicide prevention in the state, so we can have consistent message, we can share new information, research, things like that, and help each other out along the way. And so people don't have to recreate the wheel in some cases, and helping other groups get started, helping other groups maintain. So that's always been very exciting and a worthwhile effort.
Great. Yes, it is. Absolutely. And Debi's actually a trainer in several different things. QPR, you are trained in trauma-informed care activities, mental health first aid trainer. So a lot of experience and a very experienced background in suicide prevention. And so we're really excited to have her here to help us kind of take a break out of the stress that can sometimes happen around the holidays. Take a little breather, laugh a little bit. The one thing I do want to mention, since this is on a different platform, usually we're on something that's a little bit more traditionally webinar-y. And so there are ways to communicate. With this, there should be, on the right side of the YouTube page, there should be a chat feature. So if at any time you want to say something, if you have a question, if you want to shout out to Debi, please feel free to do that. If that doesn't work for some reason for you, and you have a Twitter account, feel free to tweet at us with the hashtag Lifeline Webinar, and I'll be checking that throughout the presentation as well, and we'll try to address anything that comes up. But if we are ready to roll, I'm going to hand it off over to Debi, and then we are going to start the actual presentation. If everything works the way that it should. If it doesn't, just stick with us, and we'll try to make it tolerable.
We're experimenting here. I have never done this as a webinar before. And it's a new platform using YouTube, so hopefully everything will work out for everybody and you'll have some fun with it. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun. We're gonna talk about laughing, how laughter can help us with our own self-worth, with our own mind at ease, things like that. So, and you know, if you start laughing, sometimes people just wonder what the heck you're up to. So let's go ahead and get started. So what is stress? Take a look at this. What do you think? Okay, it would be fun, it would be fine, but of course we can't do that, and it could be a little detrimental to our careers, if you know what I mean. So we need to think, you know, we need to control that that urge to strangle someone, but finding ways of dealing with stress and finding ways to use it, in fact, use stress in productive ways. So go ahead. Imagine you're holding a bottle of soda like I'm holding here. You know, you bump it, it tips over, you shake that soda up a little bit, and think about that kind of your day, the little things that happen. But you always find a way to release that pressure, right? So you hear that air escape. So what about these days where this goes wrong? The car didn't start this morning. Your coffee leaked all over your favorite shirt. Your boss says you have a report due at the end of the day. You name it, it goes wrong. And these things keep building up and keep building up, and you have no way to release that pressure. So here, folks, do you want to open this bottle? What's going to happen? Let's go on to the next slide. This is what might happen. Think about being that bottle. We might go off at the wrong time, at the wrong person, and not be very happy. You know, and what happens to the pop in that bottle, or the soda, depending on what part of the country you're from? What happens to that? It loses its fizz. It loses its flavor. It starts getting flat. And if we can't find a way to release that pressure, release some of that stress, we have a tendency we can go flat inside. We can become depressed. We can become just listless and tired all the time because we just have no way of dealing with that overwhelming stress. So what are we going to do? For one thing, we need to laugh. We need to find ways to laugh in our life and and it's not that hard actually when you think about it. So we're going to talk about some of those things that you can do to make yourself laugh. Go ahead. Well, let's talk about history for one. Plato said, humor nurtures the soul. Also in history, if we move on, even in the Old Testament, a merry heart doeth like good medicine, talking about how being happy and relieving our stress can be to make us feel better. And also history's taught us a few other things as we move on here. Global warming, you know, after 2006 I gave up. So so we can move. So again, just having a little bit of fun with laughter. So, and think about it, laughter is very natural. Look at a child. Babies laugh almost, you know, at very young. Watch a little kid. I've seen 2-year-old kids laugh at absolutely nothing. They'll be sitting there playing and they'll just start laughing and you don't have any clue why they're laughing, but they are. It's a very natural thing to do. And it makes everybody feel good. So we can move on with that. Laughter is also like aerobic exercise. When we laugh, our heart rate goes up, our muscles tense and relax, and those good chemicals in our brains are called endorphins. And when those are released, they make us feel good. So we kind of give ourselves a natural high that we can't get busted for because it's coming right out of our own body. So we feel so good after a hard laugh. And it's kind of like exercise. We feel good. And you know, we've all known about Hallmark's Maxine. And some of the things that she, you know, finding these comics are so easy to do. And sometimes you just got to look at them and you can't help but laugh because you know what? It's something we're probably thinking and would love to say but can't. How about this one? I don't know if those of you that might have kids or work with kids, wouldn't this be nice? Especially that self-clean part would be kind of fun, but oh well, we need to deal with that. So we have to learn to laugh, and one of the things we do to learn to laugh is we just got to find something funny in the everyday. Look at something that's going on and let yourself laugh at it. Look at these pictures; they're so cute, and you can't help but laugh because what else? In some situations, you're going to either laugh or you're going to cry. So why not laugh? Clear your head, give yourself some energy, and then deal with the matter at hand. So it's Christmas time, so of course I had to put this slide in. You know, sometimes you just don't have the energy to go all out like the person next door. So we'll say, yeah, just like that. Thank you very much.
If I could get away with doing the ditto, I totally would, but I know my kid wouldn't let me do it.
My family either, so. You know, laughter is so good for stress. I mean, when you're in a difficult situation, it helps diffuse that anger and fear a little bit. It gets people kind of on an even playing field. I remember when I was a little kid, when I would go to a funeral, they were very, maybe some of you remember this too, things were very quiet, very dimly lit. Everybody spoke in hushed tones and everything like that. But today it's changed. People tell stories and laugh about this person's life. One of my family's dearest friends lost their son at 14 to cancer. And it was at the time my son was 14 also, and it was his best friend. And the parents have said many times, if it weren't for the stories that people told them and some of the funny things that went on during Nathaniel's life and stuff, they don't think they could have gotten through it as well. But remembering those happy times and being able to share, it took away some of that fear, took away some of that anxiety. You know, and laughter also puts people on an even playing field. Have you ever gone to a seminar and many times the speaker, to get started, will tell a joke? And that's to put us all on an even playing field. It's not the speaker up here and us down here. It's here. And so instead of being a lecture, it's more of a dialogue. Even though you may not get to speak, you still feel like you're on that even playing field with that person. And it feels like a dialogue, which makes us feel like we're listening better. We get more out of it. And this person is more relatable to us. You know, and after a good laugh, you know, your brain clears out a little bit. We can get creative and think clearly. Brainstorming sessions, if you're able to laugh during some of those things, come up with some really off-the-wall ideas just to make ourselves laugh. Sometimes those off-the-wall ideas say, hey, wait a minute, there's some merit to that, and then the juices really start flowing. So let's talk about winter. I don't know where all of you are, but I'm in Wisconsin. So we just got done with a 4-day cold snap of below zero weather. Today we've hit a high heat wave of 24 degrees. So so here we are on our first day of winter. We see that snow. We go, oh, how pretty, how white, the nostalgia of being a little kid again, and all of all those wonderful things that we think about when it comes to snow. But then let's make a snowman. That second day is pretty fun still, and we're pretty excited about it. But then by the 5th day, you know, we're thinking, okay, this is getting a little old. It's cold. I'm ready to warm up a little bit. And as we move forward, we're pretty done with it, right? But as a friend of mine who lives in South Dakota right now, who have about 4 feet of snow already, you know, at least we don't get hurricanes. At least we don't get hurricanes. At least we don't get hurricanes. So, yeah. But, again, we have to laugh at it. You know, I'm thinking about laughter. Finding things, you know, I got permission to use this cartoon because it reminded me of my kids when they were young. And Foxtrot is a great cartoon if you have a family. They're usually in the Sunday papers. You can find them online. But, you know, again, making fun of family, but also having a little bit of fun with that as well. Hopefully you had a chance to read through this comic too. Learning what makes us laugh. You can go ahead. Now, I used to be a big fan of Calvin and Hobbes, and I was very disappointed when the author and cartoonist decided to retire. But this has always been like one of my absolute favorites, because this is something my youngest son would have done at 5 or 6 years old if he had the opportunity. He was a Houdini crawling out of bed. We had to put him in a big boy bed before he was a year old because he kept crawling out of his crib as soon as he could walk. And so, again, finding what makes you laugh. What comics do you like? What stories do you like? And things like that. So if we can move on. You know, even at work. I don't know how many of you can relate to this, but all the stress, and and we look forward to the party. We look forward to that time together, but at the same time, it's like, oh my gosh, I really don't have time for this, because with all the stresses of work and family and everything around this time of year too. But you gotta have some fun with that too. So, here's another idea.
And I don't know if the sound's going to play on this one, but we can see what happens.
The mom keeps saying no. Every time he looks back, she's saying, no, don't do it. No, don't do it. So you imagine how many times she keeps saying no, no, no. Now he thinks it's a big game. And eventually he tips it over. So, you know, what we need to do is we need to find something funny in the everyday. You know, there is some research. Believe it or not, somebody spent money one time on how much people laugh. And kids laugh up to 100 times a day. But by the time we become adults, if we're lucky, we laugh 2 times a day. We are severely under-laughed, and we need to do something about it. So finding something funny in the everyday, if you can't find something, look in a mirror. And I'm not saying that anyone's funny looking. What I'm saying is we can look at ourselves and find something to laugh at. For example, so let's go back to that company party idea. We come home from work and we say, oh my gosh, I've got to make a pan of brownies to take to this event tonight. You rush into the kitchen, you whip open the refrigerator door, and the last 2 eggs you have in the house hit the floor. Now you can go rah, 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 grumble, 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 complain, complain, complain. Oh, go back one, yep. But you still have to clean it up. You still have to figure out if you can still make those brownies. If you ever run to the store, or if you're going to make something else, you still have to do all those things. And if you're grumbling and complaining, when you get to that party, what are you going to feel like? Oh man, you wouldn't believe the crappy day I had today, and then this happened and this happened. Oh my gosh. Do you feel like being part of that party, and do people want to be around you? Probably not. So let's back up. You get home, you whip open that refrigerator door, those last 2 eggs hit the floor. Instead of grumbling and complaining about it, you might get irritated for a second, then look down at the floor and go, oh my gosh, look at that, Mickey Mouse. You still have to clean it up. You still have to figure out what you're going to make. But now you're kind of laughing at the situation. And in my situation, I'm lucky. I've got a 100-pound lap dog of a chocolate lab who all I have to do is, hey, Charlie, come here. And he'll clean it up for me. So, but the point is that if you laughed at it, you still make the effort to see the humor in it. When you get to that party now, instead of going, oh my gosh, what a crappy day it is, you would not believe the day I had. And then I got home and this happened. And if you're laughing at yourself, other people start laughing. They enjoy your company. And you told a funny story. Instead of a downer, you gave somebody something else to laugh about. And is this easy to do? Absolutely not. There are days it is so difficult to be up and positive, especially with what you all do every day on a daily basis, in and out. But training yourself to find something funny at least a couple of times today, taking a step back and saying, how can I turn this into a positive? And it does. It takes training. It's taken me a long time to actually say, you know what, I can find the humor in this. I can get through this. It's not that big a deal. And that can really help your day. It can also help with your inner health, your mental health, and your relationships. So what makes you laugh? Find something and use it. Now, what movies make you laugh? This gives you an idea of my weird sense of humor. I love Disney movies like Up, Young Frankenstein. I'm also a big Monty Python fan. But The Emperor's New Groove is an older Disney movie, and if you haven't seen it, I recommend it, because while the movie itself the cartoon thing is for the kids, the dialogue in that whole movie is for us grown-ups, and it can really, no matter what you do, it just makes you laugh because of John Goodman, David Spade, and Eartha Kitt. Just make it so. If you just play this little snippet, this gives you an idea. Excuse me. We're not going to get the volume, but he pulls the wrong lever. And she comes back and says, why do we even have that lever? And then later, another character finds that wrong lever. So again, having just a little bit of fun. But I highly suggest, that's one movie I suggest that people watch, and just you can watch it with your kids and just have a blast with it. So moving on, having a positive attitude is everything. And even though we don't get the volume on this one, you're going to get the gist of it. So just have a soft nappy in some way or shape or form, I guess. But again, finding the positives, finding the happy and everything. But having that positive attitude, again, it's not always easy, but it can be extremely helpful in the things that we do. So go ahead and move on. And we can't forget our personal touch and with what we do as well. So take a minute to read through these comics. I found them just for all of us that work in Lifeline and crisis centers and things like that, and work in mental health.
Sounds about right.
Let's create some fun too. This teacher went all out to work with these kids for this really fun project. Again, we may not have the volume, but you can get the gist of it as he's going through this demonstration with the kids. He keeps telling the shadow to pay attention and listen to what he has to say and follow him like it's supposed to. So he's basically having an argument with the shadow. He's putting everything in his trash. And at the end, it's the school principal who comes on in this video that they did together to wish the kids a happy Easter break. So, but create some fun in your office or in your home setting, coming up with fun ideas to do silly things. For example, my sons have this habit of every once in a while they'll make sure that the dog's water dish is empty, and then they put a rubber band on the sprayer at the sink. So when my husband goes to turn on the water, he gets sprayed with it, and they spread it out enough that he just forgets about it, but he gets caught almost every time. So but just silly little things like that you can do with or to each other. Little practical jokes, again, being cognizant of people's feelings and stuff, definitely, but having just those little fun things that you can do to catch each other, to make each other laugh. We can go ahead and move on. Again, finding something funny in the everyday. How many of us have tried to plug in our USB, and 9 times out of 10, actually, We get it wrong, and we have to turn it over to plug it back in. Or, again, just having a baby brother for sale, cheap. Or that bottom picture makes me laugh because when I was a little kid, my two brothers decided they wanted to ice skate one time, and it was too cold outside. So my mother was at work, my dad was in the garage working, and my brothers got hold of some Crisco oil and spread it all over the linoleum in the kitchen and decided to try ice skating. Needless to say, my father thought it was hilarious. My mother almost had a heart attack. But and being the oldest, I got blamed. But nowadays we tell that story and we just laugh our heads off because it was just something so dumb. But and did it really hurt anything in the end? No. It was just kind of a mess to clean up. So remembering those stories, making those stories to remember can also be great too. So if we move on. So, finding something funny in the everyday. Brownielocks.com is a really fun source for things, for really silly holidays and things like that. So for the month of December, of course we know it's Christmas time and stuff, but it's also National Tie Month, Buckwheat Month, Bingo. Bartender Appreciation Day is on the 3rd. Cotton Candy Day we just went past, and Cat Herders Day we just went past. And each month you can find just these lists of days and weeks and months of celebrations that you never knew existed, but you can share with each other and kind of get a giggle out of. Just, again, finding those little things just to add a little spice to the day and have a little bit of fun.
I would assume for National Bartender Appreciation Day, you have to buy them a drink, right? Is that how that works?
Well, I bartended my way through college, so I'm sure they would definitely appreciate that. So, again, and look around you. Look out the window if you're able to, watching the birds, watching the things that animals do or that you see other people do that they might not even realize that they're doing, that you find funny, not necessarily, and again, of course, not to be disrespectful or anything like that, but just you see these scenes all the time of different things that can be really funny. Here in Wisconsin, every spring we get these birds called grosbeaks that come back. And like our apple tree, there's usually 3 or 4 apples up in the top of the apple tree in spring that have sat there all winter. That they froze and they thawed, they froze and they thawed, they become fermented. When the grosbeaks come back, they start nibbling on these things, and believe it or not, they actually get drunk. And I asked the veterinarian about this, and he said, yeah. And all of a sudden, what you'll see is they'll be chewing on these apples for a while, and all of a sudden, a little while later, you see them, they flit to the ground. And they're literally kind of stumbling because they are drunk. They are literally drunk. And they have to just kind of sit around for a while until they sober up again so they can literally fly. And that's where that term drunk as a skunk comes from, because that's what skunks will do too. They'll eat old berries and things like that they find on the ground. And those are the types of things that can happen. So there's a little bit of humor in that old saying too. So moving on. And this one, you've got to have some fun. If you have a dog or a cat in the house, here's something for you. The difference between dogs teaching their children and cats teaching their children. Mom is coaxing and coaxing. Come on, baby, you can do it. A lot of patience. Then he figures it out, and they work it out together. And you just feel like cheering for this puppy when he gets to that landing. Yay, you did it! Way to go! And the mother's right there, being very encouraging so they can go down the next set of steps or whatever they need to do. But on the other hand, she just shoves him down the So again, you can see things like that. And finding this stuff and having fun with it can be really really eye-opening and very relaxing. So our next slide takes us on. Look at signs. Oh my gosh, there's so many organizations and companies that will put silly things on their signs on purpose. Just as you drive by, you can laugh. My favorite one is that one in Vancouver about the dogs. And does this look familiar to those of you that work on crisis lines? All the things that, there are days, correct? Especially if the phone's not ringing, just take one bite of your sandwich or get up to use the restroom, and that's when that thing will ring off the hook. Communication is a vital part of every organization. So to all personnel, please notice. You may have noticed the increased amount of notices for you to notice. And we have noticed that some of our notices have not been noticed, and this is very noticeable. It has been noticed that the response to the notices has been noticeably unnoticeable. Therefore, this notice is to remind you to notice the notices and to respond to the notices, because we do not want the notices to go unnoticed. The director. Share that with your director and see what they think. Something else that we can do, and something else, I'm the poster child for not knowing how to do this, believe me. But we have to learn how to say no. We can say no in a very polite way. We can say no. I would love to help you with this, but right now I just can't. But you can also offer a solution. I might not be able to help you right now, but maybe this person could help you, or maybe this person, this person does this already, so they might have more ideas for you. Help offer solutions, but again, being able to say no for your own sanity and for your own well-being. To take on too much just makes you tired. It can make you listless, and you get to the point where you're not helping anybody, especially yourself. So learning how to say no can be extremely good. Some other things you can do at work and at home. Start a humor board. When I worked on a behavioral health unit a number of years ago, our nurses station had all these cupboards, and we used one cupboard door where we would bring in comics from the newspapers, something we found online, whatever. Again, a very appropriate humor, but we would put that up and just to give each other something to laugh at. And we started to look forward to seeing if anybody made changes or added adding something new. You can start a humor file. I started a file folder on my computer at one point, because people would send me funny things and things to make me laugh at times, and I would save them. And then if I knew of somebody that was having a bad day, or even if I myself was having a bad day, I could go back and read some of these things just to give myself a little bit of a 5-minute pep talk or a pepper-upper. But very recently, I had a very dear friend who was going through breast cancer, and she's going through chemo and all that, and I made a point of every single day trying to find something silly on the internet or wherever and send it to her, either text it to her, email it to her, whatever, just so she know I was thinking about her, and just something to make her laugh. Put a screensaver up for yourself. Maybe it's a picture of a beach in Tahiti. It's something just silly like this cracked glass, or you really look funny with your head, doing that with your head. A person has to turn their head sideways to read that screensaver. It could be a picture of your kids. It could be a picture of your pets. If you're able to do that, even if you only have a 30-second downtime, it's something that makes you smile, something that makes you feel good about you or yourself or your life. And that can be a huge boost, even if it's only for that few seconds. You know what? And look online. There's YouTube. Oh my gosh, YouTube has so much great stuff. And you type in a topic, and you can find just tons of great. A lot of these videos I'm showing you today, I found on YouTube. Offthemark.com is a comic strip that you can go to, and they have just over 1 million different types of cartoons. You can plug in your occupation and get pages of different cartoons that go along with that. A couple of those cartoons I shared with you today about the hallucination and things like that, those are from Off the Mark. You can find, and you can buy mugs and T-shirts and things like that from that company to share with other people if you'd like. And you know what? And we've always got wonderful Google. Google can help you find just about anything and really have some fun with it. If I say I need a silly picture of a hamster, I type that in and I can find it. You know, little things like that can just really make your day. And we all work at, some of us work in a cubicle or an office. Working in a cubicle, the biggest drawback is think outside the box, but I'm in this silly box all day long. And, and sometimes you feel like if you hit the right button, you're going to get that piece of cheese. Or, darn it, the walls are too close together to put in a hammock to take a nap. And we have all these power cords. We've got to plug in our phone. We've got to plug in our computer. We've got to plug in our monitors. We have to plug in all these different things, and we have one outlet. And when you get right down to it, prison cells aren't only bigger. You actually have a bed and a restroom. So you think about that too. So, but we have to laugh at that too, and being able to get up and walk around a little bit, which leads into the some of the other things that we can do to help with our stress. We got to get some exercise. Even if it's a 5-second walk, to get up, to go to the water fountain, to go to a file cabinet, just to walk around our chair, whatever it is, just to move around, get our bloodstream moving a little bit, clear our head a little bit, and come back. When most of our companies offer us breaks, and so many of us, me included, are terrible at taking our breaks. But we need to, even if we don't take the whole break, take some of it. But getting some exercise is a good thing, and you can watch this little video too. Excuse me. Even animals get into the act. That's probably one of my favorite parts of that video, that they actually taught this walrus to do some of this stuff. It's just so cute.
That's impressive.
So if the walrus and his trainer can do this, maybe we can do it too, even if it's just to get up and walk around a little bit. So go ahead. You know what? And you can also get a massage. And this one, I really wish we had the volume up on it. But if you go ahead and look it up, because the volume tells the whole story about what this cat is supposedly saying to this dog. But it's pretty funny how this kitten is just giving this puppy this full massage. And that leads to pet therapy. If you're able to have a pet, the saying goes, if I wish I were the person my dog thinks I am. Our pets give us unconditional love, and pets have a tendency of knowing when we're hurting. If I could have a really bad day or be very very sad about something, and my dog will come up and it's almost like he notices that there's something wrong, and he'll put his head on my lap and just wait for me, and just sit there and wait for me to pet him. And if I ignore him, he'll just start wiggling, and then he'll try to crawl up in my lap. Like I said, he's a chocolate lab and weighs 100 pounds. So yeah, he's going to make himself noticed. But our pets can be great therapy to us. And even if it's a hamster or a guinea pig or even a bird, there's someone to talk to that won't necessarily talk back, because sometimes we just don't want anybody to talk back. We just want to be able to vent and let them look at us like, okay, whatever you say. And that's a good thing too. So pet therapy can just be a lot of, very helpful to us as well. Or don't be afraid to ask for help. And I'm probably the poster child for not doing as I say, but sometimes we all get overwhelmed. Sometimes things just start taking over. And if we should be able to say to someone, you know what, I need help with this. We tell our clients this all the time. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay that you're hurting and that you're feeling depressed, and it's okay to ask for help. So we need to be able to do that too, just when it comes to everyday life. If we're telling other people it's okay to ask for help, then we should be able to ask for it too. You know what? And being there to help another person when we're able to do too. Teaching, caring for each other, being there for each other, not only can be a lifesaver, but it can really make a person feel like they belong, that they're not a burden to others. And those are things we talk about a lot when it comes to suicide prevention. A person wants to feel like they belong, that they matter. And if we're able to ask for help and we're actually on the other side of it able to give help once in a while, that can be an amazing life-saving act. And sometimes it just doesn't take anything to do. We really need to take time for ourselves. It's not selfish to take a break, a little me time, even if it's for 5 minutes, even if it's just to run to the restroom and back, whatever. But we need that time to decompress, to think, to not have the phone going off, 6 people talking in our ear at the same time, whatever. Sometimes, I know a lot of people that are really good at taking power naps. They take a 10-minute break and they feel refreshed. They don't necessarily fall asleep, but they just take that 10-minute time to just meditate, relax, whatever, or just talk to someone, just sit and visit with someone that has absolutely nothing to do with the work at hand, and just decompress that little bit. And doing something for yourself, just that little bit of something for yourself, can be amazing. But again, remember, we also need to take some bigger things for ourselves too. We need to take that vacation time, that mental health day off, whatever. Don't not take your vacation. Don't not say, okay, I need 15 minutes for myself right now. Because if we don't do that, if we get to the point where we burn out, are we being of help to ourselves, or are we being help to anyone else? And if you're doing what you do, you love helping other people. So we need to be able to help ourselves so we can be even more productive and be more help to others and do what we love. Sometimes spirituality is a good thing. So relax and reflect. So here's a fun little prayer for you. So far today, God, I've done all right. I haven't gossiped, haven't lost my temper, haven't been greedy, grumpy, nasty, selfish, or overindulgent, and I'm thankful for that. But in a few minutes, I'm going to get out of bed, and from then on, I'm going to need a lot more help. And if we think about it that way, you know what? The more we think about ourselves, we think about others, we are thinking about ourselves too. Being good to each other and being good to ourselves is just so important to help relieve stress, to help us laugh, to help us enjoy our lives and each other. Simple manners are also extremely important. Our pleases, our thank yous can make a person's day. How often do we get frustrated when we do something for someone and they don't say thank you, or they just say give me this or do this, and you don't get the magic word of please? It can be frustrating. It can also be very deflating. So if we also remember our manners, the please and thank yous, holding a door open for someone, stopping to help somebody pick something up that they dropped. So it's just common sense, courtesy things that we do. When I do my suicide prevention talks, even those common sense courtesy things can help save a life, make a person feel like they matter, like they exist, and that they make a difference. So just those simple things not only can make you feel better, but it can make someone else feel better too. Let me go on. And remember, and this is one of my closing slides, You're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. It reminds me of my desk. So, folks, with that, I really want to thank you so very, very much for letting me be part of your day with you today. Not teaching you anything, but just how to have a little bit of fun. Give you that little, we did about 50 minutes of just spending time together, smiling and laughing, hopefully a little bit, and just to give you a little enjoyment for the end of the year, rejuvenate you for 2017. I encourage you to find something to laugh at every day, no matter how hard you have to try to do it. And with that, thank you again for letting me be part of it.
Thank you, Debbie. I hope everybody got a lot out of that. We actually had some really funny chat stuff happening too. Everybody really loved the Emperor's New Groove clip. We had some Monty Python quotes that were happening.
Oh, don't get me started on those. I have consults with my brothers on those all the time. So yeah, that's always fun.
So yes, thank you so much for joining us just for a little bit to hang out and to make some people laugh, hopefully. So with that, we will say goodbye to everyone, and we hope that you have a wonderful holiday season.
Happy holidays.
Keep an eye out for the webinar information that is going to be coming out soon for the January webinar. But otherwise, take care and talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.